analyzing properties, starting to make some offers. So were you actually making offers in Sedona before putting yours up for sale, knowing it was going to sell pretty quick? Or were you comfortable at that stage to say, let's put ours up for sale because we're finding some good deals?
That's a great question. So we had plan A, plan B, plan C. Originally, we met with Sean actually, and the original plan was, hey, break up that capital gains and spread it out over 3 properties, right?
Yeah.
That became such a big task. And Sean's like, hey, maybe 2, as your first half. And we actually settled on 1 big property instead that put us at the top of the market on number of guests. Now, looking at how many offers, we did make an offer on another property and we did not get it, and it's funny because they reached back out later and then we had already seen this second property that we really liked. We had visited we probably visited about 8 to 9 different properties, fell in love with one. The one that we ended up buying was not one that we actually visited. And so I do want to share, like, we put our faith in our realtor, who's a Vodyssey member, and he just was floored by the property. We fell in love with it. I mean, we felt like we had been there so many times because we'd done so many walkthroughs, and we ended up, putting a offer out on the property. It checked the boxes on our timeline for the 1031. Financing wise, we had a backup plan in case financing from our original 1031 didn't come in time. We also negotiated for a lot of the furniture in the property. And that was embedded into the purchase price.
Yeah, I love it. And it's, it's very interesting you brought that up. Like, we've done that so many times. I can't tell people how many times it happens when you go on a viewing trip and you go look at properties. I actually now start to tell people, don't expect to actually find the property that you actually ultimately end up buying. More often than not, you'll go and you'll look at properties, you're looking at the area, you kind of get a feel for the area. But many times, while you're there on those viewing trips, you're not actually identifying the property you end up ultimately buying. It happens a lot of times. What happened to you guys is, you end up coming home, the right property actually does come available, and you're like, hey, listen, we've been there, we've seen it, we trust our boots on the ground partners there, and we feel comfortable putting it under contract. Now, I usually follow that with, I always go there before I close on it. I never close without putting eyes on the property. And so I always go back out after I'm under contract during that inspection period. So curious if you guys did the same thing.
We did. I mean, we had it out if we didn't want to close. And so we put our offer on, then went out to the property, and we had sort of a contingency. But we wanted it literally hit the market, and we had an offer within 24 hours of it hitting the market because it checked a lot of the boxes we were looking for. The property before was ideal and we loved it, but it was going to need some work to maximize the views and to maximize the outside of the property, where this one was almost, turnkey. It felt like turnkey at the time. It was a 4-bedroom, 4-bath, but there was an opportunity to turn it into a 6-bedroom, 4-bath in a short amount of time. And that obviously is what we did. And so it delayed our sort of launch later on. But it was, so it was a little, I want to say, costly. It was not that expensive to convert to a 6-bedroom. Yeah. It was costly on the time side.
Time-wise.
So we didn't launch in October. We had to launch in, mid-November of 20.
Yeah. So now short-term cost, long-term gain, right? Because having that going from that 4-bedroom to 6-bedroom probably made and will make a big difference on the amount of revenue you can make with that property. And so, but you have to bake in those holding costs on that front end to be able to not only complete the work, but also the holding cost of the property expenses while it's not being rented.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we had to count that into our equations. Like, okay, well, we're going to owe this much mortgage. We're not getting revenue. We're not in the market, and then my wife and her sister going out and making the house look perfect and looks like something out of Architecture Digest now, where, I probably by myself wouldn't have put that much thought into it, but turning it into a 6-bedroom when we did the pro forma for a 4-bedroom, 4-bath, then we did it for a 6-bedroom, 4-bath, and increasing from 12 guests to 16 guests put us in a much different market in Sedona.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I love that. And as we're talking about these properties, you guys, they're avid listeners, you know that we post these property links in the show notes. If you're new to these conversations, go to the show notes on whatever platform you're watching or listening on. We will have the property links in there so you can check out these properties. I always say success leaves clues. One of the best things to do is visualize what a really good, property and setup looks like. And you guys did an amazing job there in Sedona.